As a musician, you have to know what key signatures are, but sometimes we don't exactly know what things are and we pretend we do. So today, I'm going to teach you what a key signature is, so you'll sound like an expert the next time somebody asks you what a key signature is. My name's Jenny from the Musical Homestead, and today I am going to be teaching you about key signatures. This lesson is part of our Theory Musica course, which is geared towards our 6th grade through adult learner. If you're younger than 6th grade, I have a perfect course for you where I will also be teaching about key signatures. I'm going to link that in the description below. For those of you following along with us in our textbook, The Fundamentals of Piano Theory, today we are on Unit 10, and you're going to find that on page 44. If you say, hey, I think I want to join along in this journey, I'm going to link our textbook in the description below. You can go ahead and pick that up, and you are more than welcome to follow us. We're having a lot of fun learning music. Today, I'm excited. I hope you are. Open up your book, and let's get started. If you've been following along with us in our lessons, then you know that this is a G major scale. A G major scale has an F sharp. In our last lesson, we learned how to create major scales and what formula we use to create those major scales using tetrachords. If you don't know how to do that, I'm going to link that lesson in the description below. Now here's the cool thing. If you know what a G major scale is, then you already know what the key of G major is going to look like. When I do a G major scale, I write the sharps over here in front of the notes that I want sharped. That's where I write the accidentals. In the key of G major, we're still going to have the F sharp, but now the key signature is going to appear at the beginning of the line of music, right after the clefs. So what I like to do is I say I turn my little vacuums on, broop, broop, and once I turn those on, it is going to vacuum the accidentals right next to the clefs. So just like that, my sharps got sucked away from my music and over here to my clefs, and now I have a key signature. I have the key signature of G major. G major has one sharp in it, F sharp, and I have written what the key signature will look like when I see it in music. I'm going to have a sharp down here on the F line and a sharp up there on the F line. That was kind of fun. I liked turning the vacuum on. Now let's go ahead and let's learn about F major. Now let's look at the F major scale. We know that an F major scale has a B flat. And when we wrote out the F major scale, we put the flat directly in front of the B. It's on the B line in both the treble clef and the bass clef. Now, if we want to know what the F major key signature is going to look like, we have to turn the vacuums on, boop, boop, and we're going to suck the B flat over here to the clefs. We vacuumed them over, and this is what our key signature is going to look like. We're going to have a flat on the B line up here and a flat on the B line down here. This flat tells me every time I play a B in the music, it is going to be flat. One other thing I want to tell you is that in each scale, the first note is the tonic note. The tonic note is the first note of the scale that tells you we're in the F major scale. It names the scale. That also names the key. So this is the key of F major and the scale of F major. We're going to end with my favorite scale and my favorite key signature. When I do this scale, C major, guess what? There are no sharps, no flats. So the key of C major is going to have no sharps and no flats. That means when I'm looking at my music, and if I'm in the key of C major, I'm going to have my clefs, and then there will be nothing after my clefs. That's pretty easy to remember. It's also really nice because when I'm playing a song in C major, I don't have to remember what accidentals are in my key signature. Now you know 3 major key signatures. I've drawn them all up on my board because I want to give you some rules that apply to all different key signatures. The first rule is the location of where the key signature is going to be. You will always have the clefs at the beginning of your music, then the key signature comes after, and then the time signature comes after that. In the key of C, there will be no accidentals, so the time signature will come directly after the clefs. But in all the other keys, you will have the key signature, and then I've written over here the time signature. Here's a fun fact. Key signatures appear on every line of music. However, time signatures do not appear on every line of music. Pull out some of the music you're working on and see if that's true. It's a fun rule. The next rule pertains to accidentals in key signatures. Now in the key of G major, I have a sharp on the F line up here, and I have a sharp on the F line up here. I will always have one sharp or one flat on the bass clef and one on the treble clef. You'll never just see, if you have a grand staff, you'll never just see one up here or maybe just one down here. There will always be one on each staff, and you'll never see multiple sharps. We'll never have a sharp here because that's an F, and maybe a sharp down there because that's an F. You only have one in each clef. Now, here's the deal. Just because there's not multiple sharps on all of the possible Fs doesn't mean that I'm not playing all of the Fs sharped. As a musician, I know every time I play an F, it has to be sharped. Now, here's another rule. Just because I'm in the key of G major doesn't mean the composer can't throw in other accidentals. If you don't know what accidentals are, I'm going to link that lesson in the description below. Check that out. The composer might want a B flat in G major, and that flat would go directly in front of the note that he would want flatted. They also might want an F natural, and they might put a natural sign in front of an F. The composer can change the music if they want to, so still be on the lookout for accidentals. Now I want to give you a little tip on how to complete page 45 in your textbook. The first thing they want you to do is they want you to label the key signature. You're either going to be in the key of C, G, or F major. And you know that by the accidental. So C would have no sharps or flats, G would have one sharp, and F would have one flat. Then what they want you to do is once you have labeled the key you're in, they want you to go through and they want you to circle all of the notes that are going to be either sharped in G or flatted in F. So in G, you're going to circle all the Fs, no matter where they are on the staff. And for F, you're going to circle all of the Bs, no matter where they are on the staff. Good luck. Now you know 3 major key signatures. I want to teach you the next concept in today's unit. The concept is that every major key signature has a relative minor key signature. Now here's something that's really important to remember. These major and relative minor keys never change. They are always buddies. They always stay together, no matter what. The one thing that makes them similar is that they both share the same key signature. So up on my board, I have C major and its relative minor, A minor. Neither one of them have any sharps and flats in the key signature, so they both share the same key signature. Now there's one thing that makes them different, and the thing that makes them different is that they have a different tonic or key note. In the key of C major, our tonic is C. In the key of A minor, our tonic is going to be A. That's what makes them different. Now you might say, Jenny, how do you know that those two go together? I know that because there's a really simple formula that I can follow that will help me find the relative minor to any major scale and major key. What I'd like you to do is memorize this formula with me, and you too will be able to find the relative minor to any major. What you do first is on the piano, we are going to write our C. Oh, we found it. There's a C. Now, in order to find our relative minor, we have to go down 3 half steps. C to B is 1. B to B flat is 2. B flat to A is 3. When I go down 3 half steps from any of my major keys, I will find its relative minor or its buddy minor. Now we're going to move on to G major. And we remember G major's key signature has 1 sharp. It has the F sharp. That means that G major's relative minor or its buddy minor is going to have 1 sharp as well. Do you remember our formula to find the relative minor for any major key signature? We are going to go down 3 half steps. Look what I have up here on the keyboard. G, down 1 half step is F sharp. The second half step is F. The third half step is E. So E minor is G major's relative minor. Those guys are the ones that work together. Remembering that they have the same key signature, but the difference is that their tonic is different. So in G major, if I'm doing a G major scale, my first note or my tonic note is going to be G. If I'm doing an E minor scale, my first note or my tonic note is going to be E. The last relative minor key we're going to learn today is going to be the relative minor to F major. major has one flat. It has a B flat. And in order to find its relative minor, we're going to use our formula of finding the F on the piano and going down 3 half steps. F to E is 1, E to E flat is 2, and then E flat to D is 3. Then I know D minor is the relative minor to F major. Those guys are buddies. They always stay together. F major will never have a different relative minor. F major, D minor, they will never have a different key signature. This is something you have to memorize. F major, D minor, and they both have the B flat. Now it's your turn to do your homework on page 47, and I wanted to help you out with it a little bit. They give you selections, and they want you to write down what key it's in. Here are the steps you need to follow to be successful with page 47. First, you need to look at the key signature. Remember, the key signature is between the clef and the time signature. Once you figure out what the key signature is, then you have 2 choices. So for example, if one of the examples has a B flat, then I know it's either going to be F major or D minor. Now, how do we know the difference between F major and D minor? This is what you have to do. Look at the first note of the selection and the last note of the selection. When you do that, you will know if you're an F major or D minor. If this was the selection, and this is my key signature, and the first note of the selection was on an F, and then the last note was on an F, I am going to be in the key of F major. However, if this was my key signature, I have my 1 flat, and the first note is a D, and the last note is a D, I know that I'm in the key of D minor. There are other ways to be able to look at a selection and see if you're in a major key or a minor key, but for this example, that is what I want you to do. First, look at your key signature. It's going to tell you what your options are. Then look at your starting notes, and it's going to tell you exactly what key you're in. Well, the good news is that now you know what key signatures are. Today, I introduced to you some basic key signatures, 3 major key signatures and 3 minor key signatures. There are a lot more key signatures, and if you want to learn about those, I'm going to teach about those in other videos. I'm going to link those lessons in the description below. Now it's your turn to do your homework, so open up your textbook and you're going to do pages 44 through 47. Take your time, do it correctly, and always remember you can refer back to my teaching if you have any questions. The way to get better at key signatures is to practice, and these wonderful flashcards that I have had in other videos also have cards that are key signature cards. I would recommend getting out the 3 that we did today and keep them somewhere so you can flash them and you can get used to what they are. On the back of these flashcards, they tell you what the major key and what the minor key is. Remember, those 2 things go together, and so it works out really, really well if you can remember both the major and the minor when you see a key signature. I am so proud of you guys. We are almost done with a preparatory level. We only have a few more units to finish out this theory course. Then you're ready for the next one. You've been doing a great job, and I know you've learned so many amazing things along the way. Before you go, do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up and click the subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next lesson. Until I see you next time, remember to have fun learning music.